Assalamu alaikum everyone, how are you guys? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Kryptonite? Today with me is an extremely special guest, someone who's had a phenomenal journey as an aerial yoga instructor, but this is not something that started very early on in her career. She's a mother of 3, an extremely proud mom, a phenomenal wife, someone who's looking after a home, and someone who's, now doing aerial yoga full-time. So please, let's all welcome Komal Khaqan. Hi Komal, how are you?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. So happy to see you after so many years.
I think decades, yes.
After decades, and so kind of you to say such words for me and
Nothing's
introducing me in such a kind way.
No, absolutely
Thank you so
nothing
much.
is
Means a lot.
changed. So I want to honestly get right into it. How did aerial yoga begin? How did the first step begin?
I think it was just fate. Even I had never imagined I would be an aerial yoga instructor at some point in my life because I was never athletic. I think if you remember me at school, I was not near sports, nothing. So, and then I had kids. I didn't really go to the gym as well, just worked out at home, watching some YouTube videos. But then on one fine day, I just came across this advertisement on Instagram from a local gym where they were offering aerial yoga classes. And I spoke to Khaqan. He said, yeah, you should go and try. Khaqan is my husband.
Yes.
It's for the viewers.
An extremely supportive and an absolutely amazing husband. And you guys are...
Yes, we'll come to that in detail. So he said that, yes, you should, go and, give it a try. Because when you look at it, when you look at the photos and videos of aerial yoga, it looks a little intimidating.
Yes, it does.
You just think, will I be able to do it? Is it for my body? And especially for somebody who has not been into exercise or yoga or fitness. So, but I went for my first class and I did my first inversion, and that was the time when it clicked that, this is something I need to do. This is something that I will do, and there was never looking back.
So can I know, was there something that pushed you towards it? How was the headspace before aerial yoga started? Because when you want to do something that's not very popular, I'm just talking from personal experience, there's generally a lot happening inside. Was there a certain headspace you were in before aerial yoga started?
Yes, it was, Iman, and it was the most difficult period of my life. So you see, I had kids, and I took this decision myself that for their formative years I should be staying at home.
Yeah.
And although I was teaching law earlier, I also worked as an English teacher at a certain school. But then I left my job after I got married, and I was there for my kids. So I thought it's very important to be there as a mother in their formative years, give them time, build home, build a relationship with my husband, by being there for him. But then after my third child, I had this really bad postpartum depression. And even I didn't know what was happening to me because I did not, experience it before with my first 2 kids. It happened after the third child. So I really didn't know what was going on. And I was very cranky, anxious, crying, and feeling insecure. Although I had been married for a while and I had been in a relationship with my husband since I was a kid, but that was the first time in my life where we really had fights, and I was being insecure. And then he was doing so much in his life, and then the question, it came to my mind, what am I doing other than just raising kids? And although it's something very important, I do not like it when the society in general, looks down upon the ladies who are just taking care of kids or, who are homemakers. Yeah. It's a very important job. But then after a certain point in time, there comes a point in life, where you need to do something for yourself as well. Yeah. And this was the time when I thought, I need to do something for myself. I need to find my ikigai.
Yes.
Yeah, if you know the concept.
Yes, the Japanese
concept of ikigai. So
exactly.
I was like, what is my purpose? What am I doing other than just raising kids or keeping my husband happy or looking after the home? So there's something that I need to do. But then aerial yoga, when I went in the first class, I said, okay, this is something that I'm going to do, I'm going to pursue. But in that moment, I did not think that I'll be an instructor. Right. It was just like, okay, I love it and I'm just going to continue it. I'm going to learn it as an art because it's just not a form of exercise, it's an art.
Yes.
So, but then over time, I realized, it's something that I'm good at. And then again, the Japanese concept of ikigai that has these 4 components.
Exactly.
Whereby doing something which is what you love, which can provide you with money.
Yes.
Which is good for the people around you. And so I said, it is something that I need to do. So, and then obviously Khaqan, my husband, he pushed me. He said that you need to do it for yourself.
I want to ask over here, because let's not focus on the fact that I just know you from school and I've known you and Khaqan both only from school.
Yeah.
But when you're married, the dynamic is very different.
Yeah.
And we live in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So over here, certain narratives, you need to have a certain image when you're talking about being a wife or a homemaker or someone who's looking after kids, and that's appreciated immensely.
Yeah.
But if you're not, say, hypothetically a lawyer, or if you don't have an MBA or any traditional conventional degree or job or a business that's either the families that you're running, aerial yoga is something that's relatively unconventional.
Yes, it is.
So if Khaqan's support hadn't been there, would this have become next to, because family can have questions?
Never, Iman, never. I say that to Khaqan as well. Had I been 25 and not 35, and had I been unmarried and not married, I would not have been doing this what I'm doing now. It's all because of Khaqan and his support. My parents were very, traditional parents who wanted me to be a lawyer, and I am a trained lawyer. And they wanted me, just like every other parent in Pakistan. So very conservative, and traditional. Even today, as I speak now, my parents won't talk to me about this. They don't want to talk about it, as if it's a taboo or something that I'm an aerial yoga instructor.
Really?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I feel bad actually, yes. I really feel bad. I would like to, tell you something. We had a little party at home, and one of our relatives, he came over, and, my mom was standing and he said, you must be so proud of Komal, what she's doing. It was just right after my Geo interview. And she said, yeah, okay, not really. And it was very hurtful, listening to that, your mother saying that for you.
Yes.
Although she loves me, I know she loves me. My father loves me, I know that. But then, if you love somebody, you need to support their dream, right? You need to support them for what they're doing.
Yes.
And but still, I don't know. I don't think I'm making them proud. I'm making my husband proud. That I'm sure.
Yours is a story where generally it's the other way around in a country like Pakistan. In majority of the cases, generally what the situation is, it's like the husband or the in-laws are not supporting or they're not endorsing or they're not pushing in a certain direction. But over here, yours is actually the complete opposite. It's like your husband pushed you in a certain direction, and that's why you were able to pursue what you were doing.
Yeah.
How did you handle judgment of others? Because it's not like that wasn't coming ever. It's not like there's no way that didn't come, right?
No, it still is, and it's just not my parents. It's my family in general. That they don't want to talk about it. And even if I put up stories on Instagram and Facebook, they hardly send me a heart, right? Because they just I
send
know.
You lots of hearts.
You send me, yes. People like you are there to support me, not the family, in fact. Family is not supportive at all, and it's hurtful. But then, as I usually repeat during Shavasana, Shavasana is when, after our class, we lie down in corpse pose and we just relax and make a few affirmations. Right. So there I always repeat, let go, let go, let go. Right. Let go of the things that pull you down. Let go of the thoughts that pull you down. So these thoughts, these negativities, that surround me, I just completely ignore them. And that's the only way. ignoring them.
But do you think, by and large, like I'm sure there are lots of clients and people who come to you, that everyone's talking about women empowerment. That's a narrative you hear very commonly on social media and around you also. Do you think society is generally more accepting of women who are pursuing unconventional professions? Everyone's working in organizations, that's a 9 to 5. But do you think society is accepting relatively, or do you think this is just something that people talk about, but in action, nahi, this is not something that happens?
So regarding that, I would say that I have a mixed opinion, because I know people like you, and then I know people like from my family. So people like you are empowering women. Like today you've called me right here because you think I'm doing something worthwhile, right?
I think what you're doing is phenomenal.
So see, so there are people like you in this society. And then there are people like others in my family who don't even want to talk about it. So it depends. I have a mixed review. So they're both kind of people. So it's just that I try and stay connected with people like you, who are not pulling me down, who are giving me strength. So that's the way.
How do you deal with the negativity that comes? Because clearly there is a lot of negativity in your case that's coming directly from family. And by family, I mean parents, but not your husband. Your husband is actually your wing. He's the reason you're flying, even though I know that's what you post on your stories.
So regarding the negativity, Iman, the thing is that, as I just said, that there are two types of people in my life. Okay, one group is pulling me down, the other is giving me strength. So all my clients, basically, now we've formed a community. So they are the ones who are giving me this strength to fight this negativity by giving me such positive reviews after every class. They go home, they message me, and then they say, we look forward coming to your classes, Komal, and then so many compliments, and they keep me going. And then that is the highlight of my life, actually, because I am making a difference in somebody's life. Even if it's one person, that is what is important. I'm making somebody happy. So that is what matters, and then it just keeps me going.
Obviously it has. So the very fact that I'm asking this question is that you would tell me how has this whole process changed you? Because clearly you've grown immensely.
Definitely.
So how has this process changed you? Like, how is the before or an after version of Komal?
So this process, it has really matured me, Iman. Although I would say when I started off with this, I was 35, but it's not the age, actually, it's your experience that is important. So these years, the experience that I've gained through, I was at home earlier, right? I was not exposed to public in general, going out, meeting new people like this. And now I've been exposed to different people, how to do financial dealing, and then especially before this, I did not know what is the struggle in managing motherhood and your career. So now I know how to manage it, right? I'm working on it, but then obviously it has grown me as a person. So it has added to my maturity, added to my experience, and then also it has strengthened the bond between me and my husband.
Oh wow. So
Very
in what
importantly,
regard?
Very importantly, because before this, as I was telling you, I was being insecure. I was not happy, and unless I am happy, I cannot keep my husband or kids happy, right? I was unhappy because I was not doing anything for myself. I was just making them happy at home. And inside me, there was this vacuum. And now that vacuum has been filled. So obviously, I'm a happier person now. I'm more content.
So when you talk about aerial yoga, are there big dreams that you have, like say maybe a studio of yours one day, or say you want to explore other avenues as far as yoga is concerned? Because when any of us goes on a path, then we start looking at various directions, right? Or the bigger picture.
Very true.
So what about that?
So for that, I really plan on going abroad and learning from different aerialists. There's some
Okay.
wonderful aerialists all over the world.
Okay.
So I plan on going there and getting some certifications. And then there's another thing in aerial arts. It's called the aerial hoop.
Okay.
It's very interesting, and aesthetically also it's very beautiful. It looks lovely. So I plan on learning on aerial hoop as well.
Okay, all right. How do your children perceive you? Because your children have definitely seen a before and after of
Yeah,
Mama or
yeah,
Komal,
yeah.
right? So how do they perceive you? That what light do they look at you? Like I've understood Khaqan and family.
Yeah.
What about your kids?
So even my kids have been very supportive, like, and then they say that our mother is very cool because she's an aerial yoga instructor. If their teacher asks them in school or their friends, so they're very vocal about it. They like telling them, that our mother is an aerial yoga instructor.
Right.
So they're very happy about it. And then they come home and they tell me that, our friends who saw you on Instagram,
Yeah.
they're so impressed by, what your mom does. It's so amazing. So they're very happy about it.
I do want to know one thing. See, whenever we are down and out in life,
Yeah.
whenever the tide is not in our favor, we reach out to people, and those people are supposedly or actually our friends, or they're a support system. But when we start doing well, there are a lot of different reactions that you get from the same people. So one thing I've learned this year is when you reach out to people, when you're not going through the best situation, then people are very helpful. But if even slightly things are in your favor, then people show a different side.
Yeah,
Or
jealousy
maybe
sets in.
or maybe the instinct is, wait, how is this working out for him or her?
Yeah.
Did you experience that?
Oh yes, I do see that. I see jealousy, envy in so many people who are close to me. Because obviously we as humans, we can feel that. If I'm sitting across and I'm jealous of you because of anything, I'm sure you can feel that.
Of course,
Right?
energy talks, yes.
So obviously I can feel that around me. So many close people, I don't want to name them,
Of course
obviously.
not, no.
But then again, what I do is I make a little prayer for them. That, may Allah make them happy.
And how do you, but that's the later instinct maybe,
Yeah.
is it? Like, theek hai, unko dua do, yes, and that's a very good response to give. But initially, isn't there shock or surprise or taken aback, ki, wait, what just happened?
Not really, man, because like you and I, we've lived these number of years, and I
Yes.
think we've realized it by now how a human being is.
Yes.
It's. I mean, you're born with jealousy and envy. It's innate.
That's
And
true.
so it's like I was not surprised. I was hurt, but I was not surprised.
Acha, okay, fine.
But then again, I'm also a human, right? So
Yes.
if I see somebody having more than me, it can be anything, money,
Yes.
power, beauty, whatever. So what I do for myself also is that, I pray for that person, that may Allah give them more, right? And similarly for the person for whom I feel that, he's envious or
Yeah.
jealous, I pray for that person as well. That is what I do. And that's the best thing to do, trust me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, because it's human nature, we can't change it, Iman. We cannot change it for ourselves, we cannot change others.
No, you
And
can't.
how many times will we get hurt? How many times?
Do you think you got lucky or fortunate or things were in your favor given that marriage turned out the way it did? Because it gave you wings, and by wings I mean, of course, you work on it yourself. It's all you. But there is some support who goes like, listen, I have your back, because again, like I've repeated this in a certain way earlier. When you've got kids, when you've got a home, the general narrative is, okay, now the woman will look after while I'm running the show or I'm running things outside, because that's also the narrative. That's also how a lot of boys are brought up, and that's also the way a lot of girls are brought up, with the same understanding कि ऐसा ही होता है. So do you think, like, I mean, things would have been completely different had
Yes. So the thing is that in my family, most of the females were working. My mother
Okay.
is also, she's a scholar, and
Wow.
she was teaching at a university. And my puppos and all the elderly people, they're working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, educated working ladies. So it was not that I was coming from a family where females did not work. It was my personal choice that I wanted to
Okay.
be home for my kids. Why? Now I'll tell you why. Why did I make that choice? Because my mother was not there when I was young. She was working. She was a very dedicated professor. So she was going abroad most of the times for different degrees and for her scholarships. And my father is also an orthopedic surgeon. So even he was busy, and we were just two siblings, me and my younger brother.
Right.
So most of the times I was alone taking care of my younger brother, and maybe I didn't realize it back then when I was young that I'm missing my mother.
Yeah.
It's creating a vacuum inside me.
Yes.
But later in life, I did realize that. And thankfully, I realized that, and I made this decision that this cannot happen to my kids.
Right.
Although I wanted to work, although I wanted to, continue, I was teaching or whatever, and it was not that my husband said that, stay at home, just look after kids. No, we did not even discuss that. Why? Because it was my personal choice. I wanted to be there at home
Right.
for them and not feel what I felt when I was young. And I'm glad that I did that. So there are no regrets that I started late. You're never late.
I love that.
So
Absolutely.
you're never late. It can be any age, any point in time, but I think what I did was right. There are no regrets.
If there was a certain piece of advice, or if there was anything you could give, and I do tend to ask a lot of guests who come here this, little Komal or younger Komal in this case, what would you say?
I would say unfold your own myth. Don't live vicariously through others.
Okay.
And by that, what I mean by that is that we listen to success stories of different people and then we just sit.
Right.
Get impressed and just sit back. No, don't do that. Think about your own dreams and then pursue your dreams. That is important.
Right.
Take control of your life. Live for yourself. For once at least, live for yourself. It can be any age, any point in time, you're married, unmarried, whatever. But take hold of your life. And then for women, I feel it's very important that you earn. Ladies,
Yes.
you need to start earning, stop depending on your husbands and fathers and brothers and sons. Earn. It's very
Yes.
important. Financial independence is very important. I cannot emphasize enough how important financial independence is.
And is there
So-
anything else you'd like to tell people out there, even though I feel everything you've answered through this is
Yeah.
saying so much, but is there anything you'd like to give a message out there because you've accomplished not just a situation or a profession that's very unconventional and been successful at it, you've done it at an age where people generally think that now we're done and dusted,
Yeah.
particularly after 3 kids and a marriage that's, sustained for so long.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is it, but that's like there's nothing ahead.
Yeah.
People don't think that way, particularly not in this part of the world. Generally, exceptions are there everywhere. So is there anything you'd particularly want to tell people at large or just generally girls?
Yeah, so my message is for girls, ladies, women, elderly women, whatever your age is. What I am saying right now is that pursue your dreams. Think what you really want to do, follow your curiosity, whatever you're curious about.
Yeah.
Go after it. It will, it will give you contentment, personal, it will help you grow personally, So why be stagnant? Why, like for example, if I'm an aerial yoga instructor today, why should I just be an aerial yoga instructor after 10 years?
Right.
Why not add something to it in 10
Yes.
years time? Like 10 years earlier, I was just a mother. And now, after a decade, I'm not just a mother, I'm also an yoga instructor. And maybe in 10 years, I'll be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You never know.
Exactly. Yes.
Opening up my own studio, maybe you're starting aerial hoop classes.
Yes.
So, keep adding to your life.
Komal, thank you so much. I don't know what I'll be very forthcoming and honest. I don't know what I was expecting from this conversation, this podcast. But I feel like, it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming to see that there's no barrier, there's no limitation. And the Komal I knew from school, you've grown leaps and bounds. You've grown leaps and bounds.
Thank you so much, Iman.
Thank you so much, guys. Honestly, this was an absolutely amazing episode because, like I just said, I didn't know what to expect from it. I thought it would just be another conversation. But this is really something that I think holds a very strong message for a lot of people out there, myself included, that there's no need to hold yourself back, there's no need to limit yourself. And yes, if you end up finding the right partner, then the sky is the limit. Yes, thank you.